This is our Group 1's presentation on, that's right, Hogwarts and its founding. So Hogwarts was founded many years ago by four amazing wizards named Godric Gryffindor, Salazar Slytherin, Rowena Ravenclaw, and Helga Hufflepuff. Oh wait, hold up guys, my bad. Wrong presentation.
So you want to be a real doctor, an anesthesiologist? Let me tell you about the history of anesthesia. According to the Wood Library Museum of Anesthesiology, the concept of anesthesia or pain control has been around as early as 4000 BCE, when ancient Sumerians, Babylonians, and Greeks used plants to relieve pain. There are isolated accounts throughout history of commonly used poisons and drugs used for pain relief, like diethyl ether, nitrous oxide, and morphine. Scientists and patients also experimented with acupuncture, hypnosis, and even knocked themselves unconscious just to handle the pain of surgery. People died from these poisons as often as they died from pain. According to an article published in the Journal of Investigative Surgery by Robinson in 2012, it wasn't until October of 1846 when an American dentist named William Morton first publicly sedated a patient for surgery safely and effectively. Pain and surgery were no longer synonymous. Later in the year, the term anesthesia was officially coined by Oliver Wendell Holmes. Robinson also stated that as medical science advanced, physicians and scientists discovered more essential functions could be medically controlled and safeguarded, like the invention of the O'Dwyer intubation tubes, IV barbiturates, and propofol that replaced the use of cocaine and chloroform anesthesia. So, we've established that anesthesiology is a rather young and exciting science. Here's what they do day to day. The American Society of Anesthesiology defines anesthesiology as the practice of medicine dedicated to the relief of pain and total care of patients before, during, and after surgery. This requires that anesthesiologists are professional, collaborative, and attentive. They have a wide range of knowledge about medications and how the human body works in response to the stress of surgery at all stages of a procedure. Doctors can administer local, regional, or general anesthesia. They work in hospitals, surgical centers, or clinics. Before surgery, anesthesiologists discuss with the patients to develop a safe plan for sedation and pain control. They can answer any questions or concerns. During surgery, they make sure the patient is safe by monitoring airway, heart rate, blood pressure, breathing, blood loss, and body temperature. They work alone or with an anesthesia team during surgery, but closely with the surgeon. Afterwards, they keep a patient comfortable during recovery using medications and develop a pain control plan with the ICU and floor nurses.
Now that you know what they are, let me tell you how to become one. Life for Future Anesthesiologists is continuous testing, so learn to love studying. The Federation of State Medical Boards and the National Board of Medical Examiners sponsor the United States Medical Licensing Examination, which is needed for medical doctors to gain licensure to practice in the United States. The National Board of Osteopathic Medical Examiners sponsors the Comprehensive Osteopathic Medical Licensing Examination of the United States, which provides the pathway to licensure for osteopathic physicians in the United States. This information can be found on the USMLE website and the NBOME website. Specifically, all physicians must submit proof of successful completion of the USMLE or COMLEX exams, so proof that you went to an LCME accredited medical school, and provide a resume to the licensing board. While a lengthy and frustrating process, licensing boards want to do a thorough job to protect the public and to evaluate potential problem areas early on. They take the necessary time to fairly evaluate each application for licensure and also strive to ensure a process that protects the legal rights and privileges of physicians. The end result is improved health care for the people of the United States. This information can be found on the AMA website. Anesthesiologists must also maintain their certification and licensing through an ongoing program of continuing medical education. CME for physicians is regulated by the Accreditation Council for Continuing Medical Education and the American Osteopathic Association. The ACCME and AOA accredit institutions and organizations that offer CME, such as hospitals. Some states might have further requirements for licensure, such as state-specific examination. This information can be found on the ACCME and AOA website. After a physician completes a 3-year anesthesiology residency program, he or she can apply for credentials to specialize in anesthesiology. The American Board of Anesthesiology tests this through a 2-part set of examinations. The first is a multiple choice exam followed by an oral exam. with examiners providing case data and questioning the candidate on proper procedures and methodology. Similar to licensing, there's an application process that includes adherence to the Medical Code of Ethics, medical license, resume, proof of completed internship, and proof of continued education sessions and exams. Certification must be maintained every 10 years through the ABA's Maintenance of Certification in Anesthesiology program. There are subspecialty certification options available after your initial certification, which include but are not limited to pediatric, hospice care, and pain medicine. These certifications may require that you complete further training or fellowships in an anesthesiology program. For example, the Pediatric Anesthesiology Examination is a comprehensive 4-hour computer-based exam designed to broadly assess knowledge. To be eligible for the ABA subspecialty certification, physicians must possess an appropriate medical degree or its equivalent, hold an unexpired, unrestricted, and active license to practice in at least one state or jurisdiction of the U.S. or Canada, be a diplomat of the ABA, and a participant in MOCA. This information can be found on the ABS website. ABMS Board Certification and ABMS Program for Maintenance of Certification are instrumental to the integrity of medical specialty care. They are peer-developed, externally validated programs which serve as important markers for a higher standard of care. Patients, physicians, healthcare providers, insurers, and quality organizations look for these markers as the best measure of a physician's knowledge, experience, and skills to provide quality healthcare within a given specialty. Patients benefit from a physician's credentials and/or certificates with better communicative relationships built on listening and sharing, improved sensitivity to their needs and concerns, demonstrated clinical knowledge concerning their medical condition, coordinated care from interprofessional teams, and integrated systems of care. Physicians benefit from participating in this program with focused learning based on individual practice needs, increased practice base and clinical efficiencies, enhanced communication with colleagues, patients, and caregivers, as well as better working relationships within the system of care. This can all be found on the ABMS website.
Now let's talk about the rules and regulations of anesthesiology and practice of medicine in general. I know, exciting, right? You bet it is. So let's start with the big picture view of America. Now, the national laws and rules for practice of medicine are regulated by the National American Medical Association and also at the state level by state legislatures and by the Texas Board of Medicine. I'm sure many of you want to be anesthesiologists one day in the awesome state of Texas. So let's talk about the state of Texas and the laws that govern that state's practice. So you can go to this link shown on the screen to find out more about it, but more on Texas. The rules and regulations governing your practice in Texas tells you what you're allowed and not allowed to do, and you can follow the link on the screen to find out more. Now, as we all know, laws must be updated and modified and reformed with advances in the field and changes in society. Thus, the rules and regulations governing the practice of anesthesiology are able to be updated at both the national and state level by the American Medical Association and the Texas Legislative Council, respectively. Additionally, there are also rules and regulations set up for doctors in their individual practices and at hospitals. And there are also rules in these places specifically made for anesthesiologists. Examples of these rules and how they're structured can be found on the American Society of Anesthesiologists website as shown on the screen. Now, I know having a medical license is not easy, but it is a great responsibility. Sure, James Bond, the famous 007, has a license to kill, but as a doctor, you'll have the license to save lives, which is totally way cooler, kind of. Now that we've covered the rules and regulations, let's talk about the Code of Ethics for being a doctor. The Code of Ethics is maintained by the American Medical Association, the Texas Medical Board, and by individual practices and hospitals. Ethics is especially important in the practice of medicine, particularly in anesthesiology. This is because in the area of anesthesiology, you have easy access to powerful drugs and ways to get them, not just for yourself, but also for your patients. So it's important to keep ethics in mind, and anytime you have questions, there's always someone there to help. Remember everyone, drugs are for thugs, and no one wants to be a thug. Anyway, while ethics is always a fun and interesting topic, it's important to know that when you do have the questions about ethical guidelines associated with the situation you're in as an anesthesiologist, you can find the guidelines at the following links that are shown on screen. Additionally, always know that you can get help and learn more at the hospital you practice at, and that there are departments that are dedicated to helping you get your questions answered. As a doctor, you will be a valued and looked up member of society, so you must act ethically and put your best step forward. And when push comes to shove and things get difficult, you should do what's right, not what's easy. Always remember, who's awesome? You're awesome.
Now that we got all the boring stuff out of the way, let's cover some of the secret organizations and societies exclusive to the most prestigious of physicians. The first of the secret organizations is the American Society of Anesthesiology. This society allows for you as a physician to be updated with the most recent research news and better your knowledge in the field of anesthesia. Magic. Anesthesia? Yeah, anesthesia. This organization provides valuable information that can be applied to your everyday practice of anesthesiology. Another organization I highly recommend you join is the American Society of Regional Anesthesia and Pain Management. This organization is the lead provider in educational needs of anesthesiologists and helps them maintain their license. This is extremely beneficial and one of the top organizations that, as an anesthesiologist, you should stay in contact with. As for those who want to do research, now I highly recommend this organization for you, the Anesthesia Patient Safety Foundation. This organization allows anesthesiologists to stay informed with the most recent news. They also provide grants to many research projects for anesthesiologists who wish to focus their practice on research. This organization is definitely one that you want to keep in mind. Now, all of these organizations provide valuable resources, and these are only a few that I could list. I encourage you to reach out to these and many other organizations if you choose to follow the path of anesthesiologists. Now, all of these organizations can be found more in depth in our citation page. Now, let me hand this over to Cody to talk to more about our pros and cons of being an anesthesiologist.
Pros and cons. Pros, you are ballin'. You make $100 an hour on average, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Remember how Fred and George started their business in Diagon Alley and were making a lot of gold? That's what you can expect as an anesthesiologist. Pro number 2, you're in control of the patient's life. You're the gatekeeper between life and death. You hold an immense power over another human being. Pro number 3, instant gratification of your skill sets being effective. You are able to instantly monitor your success as an anesthesiologist as you put a patient under and monitor their vitals, and finally bring them back to life. Many other specialties do not get to see this ultimate outcome of their effects on a patient's health. Cons. Number 1, anesthesiologists typically work in hospital environments. Hospital environments are fast-paced and can be very stressful at times due to the general effect of being in an environment of sick people. It's kind of like being in Hogwarts during the final battle when there's chaos all around. Just instead of sick people, there's dark wizards and such. Con number 2. Anesthesiologist services are used most often during surgeries, which require on-call services. So anesthesiologists are often on call, even when they're not working. Con number 3. You are in control of a patient's life. Yes, this is also a pro. You are the gatekeeper between life and death. You hold an immense power over another human being, and this is both a pro and a con. References: www.aamc.org. This is the Association of American Medical Colleges. They can be contacted via email about questions on the aspects of a career in anesthesia at careersinmedicine@aamc.org. Their website also provides a lot of helpful information on the profession. Resource number 2, www.asahq.org. This is the American Society of Anesthesiologists, and this is an excellent source for listening, licensing, credentialing, general information on the career field, and general questions you may have about medicine. They can be contacted at info@asahq.org, and their website lists contact information for all board leaders in case you have any professional questions. The last source is www.ama-assn.org/AMA. This is the American Medical Association, which is also a fantastic source for information on medical professions, including anesthesia. This is the organization that serves as the forefront for the physicians in the U.S. in terms of lobbying as well. They can be emailed through their website at the link provided. Citations. Here's a list of the citations we have used in our presentation.